poppin'?
What's poppin' in Puerto Rico?
We are in Puerto Rico. How are you feeling?
I'm amazing.
That's beautiful. Please introduce yourself to the people.
Hey guys, my name is Alan Jones. I'm originally out of Dallas, Texas. You know, here in Puerto Rico. Amazing Tara.
We are in Puerto Rico. Thank you so much for joining me today. Because I asked you this, like, consciously when we was walking, getting off the boat. Like, how do you stay so positive? Because I be seeing, I be an outsider looking in, and you just been positive this whole retreat, this whole trip. And that takes, like, so much willpower. That takes a lot of effort to stay positive. How you do it?
I think the biggest thing about being positive is the energy that is reciprocated. It simply means this. I want to give out positive vibes so I can receive positive vibes. Life is how you really react to certain things. And so how you react to it is going to dictate the mood.
You said the mood. So how do we act proactively instead of off of impulse, off of a trigger, or off of a pattern?
Well, map out your in from the beginning. Simply means that, if you tell yourself, wake up, I'm going to have an amazing day, all right? Then you want to go out there and do everything that you can in your willpower to have an amazing day. And you're not going to let anybody steal the word joy, right? Because joy is something that comes from within.
That'd be it right there. I remember we talked about yesterday about like the pursuit of happiness. Most people are chasing after happiness because they have not realized and found that joy within. How did you find your joy within?
Well, it's simple. If people understood that happiness is dictates what others or circumstances outside of you. For example, you could buy me a present today. Let's say it's my birthday, you bought me a present, and I was extremely happy. Well, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months from now, that same present that made me happy may not continue to make me happy. So what happens is that it fades, and you constantly have to pursue the next thing to make you quote unquote happy. But if you have joy inside of you, no matter what the circumstances are, you're going to be happy for where you're at or within, because at the end of the day, if you have that joy, it doesn't matter your circumstances.
That's the cheat code.
That is the cheat code.
That's the cheat code. And I know we get so wrapped up in doing life and like living life, and we forget like the simple things this life has to offer that can really just cause us to rethink and just to choose happiness. Like it's a choice to like choose joy. It's a choice to choose peace. And I notice that you choose that on a constant basis.
Because life is short, and when life is short, you really want to try to enjoy every moment that you can, because you never know when that time is going to come.
Captain Robert, he said, every day is important. I said, whoa, that was just so simple, and that was just like so profound to me when you really realize like every day is important.
That's true. I mean, if you think about it in life, where we are at this moment in time in life is a direct result of all the decisions that we made leading up to this point. So we can't say that one day didn't matter, because one day can make a huge difference. So you can't write off a day because it literally can change your life.
Wow, any life experience that brought you to this place today that opened a whole new awareness, that taught you a few things about yourself?
I can't pinpoint any particular life experience, but I will say a lot of experience that I experienced in life when I was a child, under the age of 18, did affect me.
Childhood really impacts our adulthood.
By far, because we spend so much time developing and learning while we're a child, when we're younger, all the way leading up to our teens and to our, young adult age, right? Now, of course, we will always feel like a kid inside, which simply means that, we can look back 10 years ago and feel like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
So what that simply means is that it's more imperative that we focus on the things that are important to us, and that way that will lead us to our, everyday of success.
So with childhood and the whole experience with childhood, I feel like we do still have our inner child within us all. Like, our inner child didn't just go anywhere, it's not disappeared. So how do you cultivate your inner child and heal your inner child as an adult?
The best way I heal my inner child is reflecting on what I experienced as a child and to appreciate the blessings that I've received already. See, when I was growing up as a child, not to pry too deep, but, I was homeless at times as a child.
Wow.
So one of the biggest things was not to be homeless. So that was things that I've accomplished. What's another thing? Wanting money. That was another thing that I've accomplished. Having a family. That's another thing I accomplished. A lot of people don't understand that they're living in the moment of the blessings that they prayed for years ago.
Dang, if you just open your eyes to see that and to be grateful. But when you're constantly in a rat race and you're constantly on the go, you missing that.
Well, because people have a tendency to want more. Everything will always feel insignificant if you want more. So you can't even enjoy your blessings if you're too busy wanting more.
It's always greedy, always greedy, never satisfied, never content.
The biggest thing is that I would say this. Think about your minor victories, because everything happens over time. If I was to ask you, Tara, what's the best way to eat an elephant?
Oh my.
What would your response be?
I have never experienced that yet. Eating an elephant.
Eating an elephant. Could you eat an elephant?
Could I eat it? If it's cooked.
If it's cooked, right? You're talking about an animal weighing like 2 or 3 tons.
Right, you gotta, slice me a piece.
But you got it, a piece. Basically, the best way to eat an elephant is just one bite at a time.
Yes, yes.
Because we're not looking at the obstacle. Because if you look at that, I have this giant elephant, then if you look at how big it is, it's never going to get done. You just got to do it one step at a time, one day at a time, piece by piece, and you will get there.
You will.
But if you're impatient and you want it all at once, you may not never get there because you will feel like it's impossible.
Yeah. Whew, baby steps.
Baby steps.
What be the rush though?
Well, impatient. See, the thing is, we live in especially nowadays, we live in a world that we want things now. We live in a microwave age, where if somebody texts you and don't respond, you want a response now. You food, you ready for it now. And so what happens is that people want their blessings now, and in return end up blessing themselves when they wasn't ready to receive it in the first place. For example, you may have just got a raise on your job, or you've been wanting this brand new car, you've been wanting to get into this house. Well, you may not be able to barely make it where you're at that point. So you go out there and say, you know what, I want to keep up with the Joneses. I want this new car. I want this new house because you want it. And you go out there and purchase these things. Now you financially have burdened yourself to where at one point you may have had a surplus in money at the end of every month, to now you're running out of money before you're running out of money. So now you're stuck in the burden of having to carry on these extra things that if you would have had the patience to wait, and live within that blessings of the car that you had, or the living situation that you had a little longer, to get to a point that where now you can comfortably afford these things that you may have went out there and blessed yourself with. Because remember, at the end of the day, there should not be no stress with blessings. It should not be.
Oh my. That's what we should mostly focus on, like living a stress-free life. But we have normalized anxiety, depression, and nobody knows what that even looks like anymore. Like, nobody knows how to just do nothing and be patient.
That's true. But that's what I say, that's the type of the reality we live in now, is because they don't know the patience. I mean, you could think about, starting college I started college at 16. I started at a young age, right?
Wow.
I see so many friends that started college soon. If they felt like they didn't finish college in 3 years, 4 years, that it was an ultimate failure, they're not going to go back. Next, 10, 12 years, they didn't even go back to school. And now they want to go back to school, Or you see people that's 50-something getting their diploma. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter at what age you get started, as long as you get started on something. And most people, if they get started and don't continue, they feel like that's a failure. And it's just completing the task at hand, no matter how long it takes you, because you're only running your race. And that's the biggest thing that we say about staying in your own lane.
Staying in your own lane, run your own race. Don't compare or compete or look over. Staying focused is so key. We be so nosy, worried about what everybody else doing in their business, and it don't got nothing to do with us.
Exactly, because your time is going to be your time, and when it's your time, it's going to be the right time for you. But that comes from what? That joy within. Because everything else is an outer experience. That euphoric feeling you get when you get a gift or you do something that makes you happy. It's just that it releases, I think I've seen something that says that your brain actually releases a chemical. And then you keep wanting that feeling over and over. That dopamine and things of that nature, right? So what I'm saying is to people is that if they have patience and they understand that in due time, in the right time, the things that they want will come. Because you're conscious and subconsciously going to do the things that it takes to actually get there. Because if you're putting that energy out, that's the energy that's going to come back in. That's where the term reap what you sow comes into factor. So if you really truly says to yourself, hey, you know what, I'm going to be able to get this great job, to get this house and doing these things, the things that you do will lead you up to that point to put you in position to be able to reap and do whatever you say they set out to achieve and accomplish.
Day by day.
Day by day.
Brick by brick.
Hey, brick by brick.
One day at a time. I appreciate you, Ellen, so much.
Hey, not a problem. I'm glad to be here.
Please shout yourself out. Where can we get your book? That.
I came out with a book called Just Clocked Out, and it's overcoming life's adversity. And the reason why I wanted to put a book out like that is because I see so many people in situations. A lot of them may be in financial situations, physical situations, spiritual situations that they seem to feel like they can't overcome. And what I've been able to do in my lifetime is overcome, but it also starts with the way that I think,
Yes.
Because if you think that you can't, guess what? You're right, you can't. But if you think that you can, you're absolutely right, you can. In life, sometimes we have no choice but to do. And what I mean by that is that if you have, let's say, your family, you got to go out there and provide for them, you ain't got an option but to go out there and to do. It's no time for self-pity. It's no time to sit back and
whine and
complain. It's time to check your mind, right? And that mind is them 6 inches between your ears. It's your brain, it's your mindset, right? So you want to be able to check your mindset, because you can do anything it is that you truly wanted to do and start it day one. Doesn't matter what it is, where you're at in your point of life. Everything has a starting point.
Yes.
And it's day one.
We all have to be a beginner somewhere.
You gotta be bad before you good. You gotta be good before you great.
Wow.
It's just that simple.
I was literally bad in my childhood. I'm so glad I experienced that. And the fact of the matter is, I really feel like life is a game, like a mental game, a spiritual game, and all that. And you got it down pat. That's why I really wanted this time with you and this experience, because you taught me a lot, even just by leading by example. So I appreciate you so much.
Hey, same thing here. I appreciate you as well too. And so it's been amazing, and I definitely, don't be a stranger, invite me back on the show.
Oh yeah,
I would love to
many more.
I would love to pick your mind as well too.
Many more.